Hi, this is Pratik. It's 4 or 5 a.m. right now. I'm in the Uber heading to the San Jose airport to catch a flight back to Washington. And I am just completely exhausted. And I was thinking, when the last time was that I felt like this. And it made me think back to one of the summers in college. And I thought this would be a good occasion to do a video on how to pace yourself during the law school admissions process. I think there's sort of a tension here, because on the one hand you basically have a period of 4 years or however long you are in college to just really show what you can do academically, and those 4 years are in some sense a make or break. On the other hand, 4 years is a long time, and you have to pace yourself. So the way that I did it was I remember I've never been a morning person, and I remember I was always just barely functioning in high school because things were so early. And so I remember I made it a point when I was in college that I would work hard and I would do whatever it took on the one hand, but I also I wanted it to be a sustainable, solid routine. I just knew that I would burn myself out if I kept going at sort of the high school rate. So I remember that when I was picking my classes, I obviously wanted to take classes that I was interested in and so forth, but I also really took into consideration what time these classes were, and I tried to schedule, I tried to space them out over different days. I tried to schedule a lot of them late in the day or on the evenings, and so I certainly stayed awake late and worked hard at these courses and did the reading and always tried to attend them. But I also, even though I was putting in more work, it didn't feel like the same strain. Now, at the same time, where I did really push myself, often to borderline unhealthy degrees, was that if I had opportunities that were really significant or important, I didn't allow sort of day-to-day inconveniences to get in the way. So one of the reasons I thought to make this video right now is because I remember there was a summer in undergrad where I wanted to take courses at Brown during the summer, and I wanted to do that largely so that I could stay ahead on credits, and I actually ended up graduating a little bit early because of that. But there was also I was also a research assistant to a Middle East expert who was based in downtown Philadelphia, and so what I would do is I would take the first flight that I could out of T.F. Green Airport in Providence, and I would fly into Philadelphia and into the airport, and then just sort of with all that commute and everything, I got into the office sort of right around the time my boss did, and he used to come in on the early side, and then I would just work all day, and then sometimes I would stay over in Philadelphia, but sometimes I would just come back late at night on the flight again, and then head to class the next morning at Brown. So you'll need to obviously figure out what works for you. I remember sometimes some people I saw would take morning classes, and then they would go in and then come back and take a nap. Some people would do what I did, who were more night owls. But look, I think like when I tell people sort of about this summer regiment, about taking early flights and coming back, people are always a little bit surprised. But when I really think about a lot of my classmates in law school and other people I know who got into these top schools, people don't really talk about this stuff, and I think, you know, they're embarrassed or whatever, but there's always this kind of a story behind people who make it. That we're dealing with people who are in the very fraction about top 1%. We all have the same amount of time per day, and if you can figure out a way to push yourself, but also do it in a way without getting totally burned out, that's going to give you an edge. I hope this helped.